Hello,
Hello.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast where two sports lovers sit and give their hot takes off the dome. I am Redfish,
And I am Mustang.
and we will be steering this ship today. As always, make sure to, keep up with us on the social medias, Facebook and Twitter, primarily. Facebook, Off the Dome Sports Podcast. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Twitter, _Dome Pod. And if you check out our social medias, you also see some of our favorite people on there with The Know. That is KNEAUX, spelling it the only way you're supposed to spell it. Just like go in Tigers. Which we have the LSU baseball game on in the background right now. But before we get into, what's going on with this game, we do want to say, hopefully everybody, gets in the chat and gets lively and pays attention to what's going on, because we're going to have some fun. And of course, we do want you to check us out on social media, and through our social media is the way we'll be doing a giveaway.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll be doing a little bit of a giveaway. So our friends over at The Know are going to be helping us out with that. And so the way to enter that giveaway, whether you're watching right now or you come back and watch us in a little bit, the winner will be announced on next week's episode of OTD. So you have up until then, which I think is going to end up being like next Tuesday probably.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday. So make sure to tune in next Tuesday for the next OTD episode, and that's when the winner of the giveaway will be announced. As for what you win in the giveaway, it's going to be a desk-sized cornhole set.
Hell yes.
So I think that's pretty cool, and it's Saints-themed. So for all the Saints fans out there, who I'm sure most people watching this are a Saints fan, you can enter into the giveaway, and to do that, you simply have to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and follow The Know. So if you follow all four accounts, so The Know and Off the Dome Sports Podcast on Facebook, and at Be in the Know and at Off the _Dome Pod on Twitter, follow all four of those accounts. If you're following all four of those accounts, you will automatically be entered in for the giveaway. And, we'll check and see who's following all four. Whoever's following all four is automatically entered, and we'll announce the winner on next Tuesday's episode. So we'll gather all those names together, randomize it, and whoever wins will get a desk-sized cornhole set, Saints-themed. Should be really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's
something.
a perfect little thing.
Not quite, Dustin.
Sorry, Dustin.
We are not at the stage yet in our careers where we can give away PS5s.
Can you win at Geraldette? Well, we'll have to discuss. We'll have to look behind the scenes. As for the comment that was underneath that, I saw Keanu dropped in and said he needs that mini cornhole set.
Well,
follow all four accounts. I mean, you listen, man. I don't think you follow any of them, so I think it's time for you to get those Twitter fingers moving, Keanu. How about that? Anyway,
trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers.
that's word around town.
Yeah.
So we've got LSU baseball on right now, and we're gonna keep up with it as the podcast goes, because
Geraldette said, "I know someone who has a PS5. You might be able to get."
Oh, now we're getting political. I like it. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Thank you,
I still
Mom.
might.
No, I don't think death is a viable option in getting a PS5, because that is a viable option in trying to get that PS5. Let's not do that.
You just gotta play your cards right.
Yeah.
Finally, the Tigers get out of this inning.
Yeah. So I mean, Tigers were up 1-0 through the first two innings, and then we end up scoring another run for the Tigers, and then Arkansas really just popped off at the bottom of this fourth right here. Scored 5 runs in the bottom of the fourth just now. We finally got out of it. Honestly, it looks like the most vulnerable Paul Skeens has been all season.
Yeah, not the most sound performance we've seen from him. He's having some trouble locating his breaking ball, which was a great pitch for him. In those 0-2, 1-2 counts where he could try and catch that hitter off guard, get him swinging in the dirt. He just couldn't locate it today, and he's starting to pay for it.
Yeah, we saw quite a few times earlier in the game where he was trying to throw that curveball and it was just slipping out of his hands, hitting that top outside corner, and I'm sure that's not a pitch he wants to leave hanging, especially with these Arkansas hitters who we know can mash the ball outside the park. You do not want to leave a curveball hanging outside the zone, up and away like that. Very dangerous pitch. So I know it wasn't something he wanted to do, but he just didn't have his best day. And then, I mean, even for a bad day for Paul Skeens is a great day for anybody else.
I mean, yeah.
So,
especially with these bats he has behind him. I'm confident they can start to get rolling soon and put some more runs on the board for the Tigers.
Yeah. Speaking about baseball, I am a Red Sox fan, but I am wearing a Rangers hat today. It's a beautiful color, beautiful hat. Went to that Rangers game last week. Me and Clown Car. Clown Car was on our last episode as well, so you'll be seeing his face a lot more once the summer really gets started, as he'll be filling in for me in case y'all didn't hear that last week. Go back and watch last week's episode if you didn't already see it. YouTube or Twitch. Twitch is at OTD Sports. YouTube, Off the Dome Sports Podcast. That's probably where you're watching right now. Go back and watch last week's episode so you can get used to the face of Clown Car, as he'll be in here quite a bit more coming up, and he's a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to hear about baseball, follow him on Twitter too. I think his name's Adam Lots of Money. So go ahead and follow him, because he's a really cool follow, really cool guy, and he's got a lot of knowledge about sports. First at bat there, Dylan Cruz just grounded out to third. Not what you want to see, but Dylan Cruz has kind of been in a slump recently.
Yeah. He hasn't, his batting average we've seen drop from what at once was like 460, 450 all the way down to 418 is what it is currently.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not having the best couple weeks recently.
The month of May has been very bad for him.
Very bad for the Tigers in general.
Yeah. I mean, kind of starting with that Auburn series.
Yeah, downhill from
Nothing
there.
has really went right for us. But we looked really good yesterday. 10-3 against South Carolina. I mean, I think we had a 5-run sixth inning, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. And, we just didn't look back from there. Held South Carolina, which has been one of the best offenses in the country, to only 3 runs, and then they end up getting knocked out of the tourney today. Thatcher Hurd had a great game yesterday. And if you watched that game and if you watched all the pre-stuff on SEC Network before the game, you would have seen Thatcher Hurd on LSU's campus, giving out to some students and, in the food pantry because he donated his NIL money to the food bank. And if you just so happen to be looking and saw a guy in a white hat and a purple hoodie with a name tag on, that may or may not have been me. I may or may not have been on ESPN. Who knows?
He may or may not have made Paul Skeens the best game of his season.
Thatcher Hurd.
That's what I meant.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just saying, no coincidence that Thatcher Hurd throws his best game of the year the same day he makes it on ESPN with my beautiful face. So, sorry about it. Sorry about it, South Carolina. I'm the reason Thatcher Hurd got good at baseball yesterday.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you. Wish I would have done the same for the Tigers today because we are currently down 5-2. Tommy Tank's up to bat. He's kind of been one of our only players where he hasn't had a slump. Like he's not batting .415 like Dylan Cruz is.
That's kind of like unheard of.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think Tommy's batting over 380. He's creeping up on triple digits in RBIs. He has been probably our most consistent player throughout the season, I'd say. And really good addition.
I love his approach, like as you can see right now. Didn't work out for him there, but what he does is, he has his normal batting stance where he gets a lot of his power from, and 0-1, 1-1. Anytime he has 0 or 1 strike, he's in his normal batting stance. Once he gets 2 strikes, he bears down, gets real low, tries to get his eye as level with the ball as possible so he can see it better, and he shortens up his swing too, to try and make contact, try and stay alive, make that pitcher work more. and it's worked out really well for him all season.
Yeah, it looks really strange if you watch it on TV, you know, like getting a really, really wide stance, kind of straightening out that front leg and, you know, like rearing back a lot on his back hip. But I think what that does for him is just allows him to explode out of the back quicker on 2 strikes. And, you know, even if he's able to make contact, he'll be able to get his feet rolling quicker.
Yeah.
Because Tommy White's not the fastest guy, but
he is the biggest.
he is. He's a large human who can put power behind the bat without even trying.
Yeah.
So, you know, rearing back on that back hip, getting that front leg extended, getting low to the ground, gives him better vision and gives him a better chance of making solid contact with the ball. As far as LSU baseball goes looking forward, right now we're in the SEC tournament. You know, if we win tonight, it you know, we'll have to see who we play in the next round. And it is a double elimination tournament, so even if, you know, we can't pull this one off against Arkansas, we still have another shot. It would suck to go into that loser side of the bracket because you never want to be inside the loser side of the bracket.
And you're just one game away from going home.
It's always an uphill battle once you get into that one-and-done situation. So hopefully the Tigers can find a way to pull this one off. But even if they don't, they'll still have, you know, a little bit of a chance to keep fighting through the SEC tournament. Either way, I think it is possible. So they're showing on TV right now that if we do end up losing this game, we'll take on Texas A&M Friday. Texas A&M, we beat them already this season in the series. I think we ended up dropping the Sunday game to them like we did in most of our SEC series. We weren't great on Sundays this year. Just out of our, like, we didn't have a good third-day starter. I think Thatcher Hurd's kind of getting himself into that position now, though. So if we end up playing A&M on Friday, I'd expect Ty Floyd to pitch in that one.
Yeah. Which is, you know, a lot better than, you know, what a lot of people thought we would be coming into this tournament. A lot of people thought it was going to be Ty Floyd and then Skeens and then what?
Right.
But with the great performance by Thatcher Hurd against South Carolina, it leaves us a lot more room to work with these guys in the bullpen. And it works. It's not a good look for Texas A&M as they've thrown their 3 best, you know, their 3 guys who have gotten them to where they are already, and they're going to be reeling Friday.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can get the Ty Floyd we've seen as of late. I feel like our starters have been getting better and our bullpen has been getting worse. Ty Floyd, you know, he started off the season kind of shaky. He's been inconsistent at times, but I feel like the last few outings he's had, he's really cemented himself as that number 2 guy behind Paul Skeens. So I hope that he can continue that, and if he can, then it should look good on Friday. Either way, whether we win or lose, doesn't really matter who we play. Ty Floyd puts us in a spot to win against, I feel like, anybody in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Looking beyond the SEC tournament, though, I think no matter what happens here, we'll probably end up hosting a regional.
Yeah.
I think regionals go to the top 8 teams in the country, I believe. And, you know, making it this far in the SEC tournament, granted, we're going to still have another game and have a chance to keep on winning. I think we've proven ourselves over the season to be a top 8 team in the country, and we'll probably host a regional in Baton Rouge. And, you know, I think it depends on matchup. I don't know necessarily, like, who we could have in our regional, but I think it would be very disappointing if this team didn't at least make it to Omaha.
Yeah, especially, you know, how, you know, great we started the season, all the, you know, the positive outlook that they were giving this team. It would be a shame to see
Great catch there by Joe Bear.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic catch.
Foul territory, ran all the way over there. But, yeah, like I was saying, all the hype around this team at the start of the season, you know, the streak that they were on, you know, just the cuts of their jibs.
I like the cut of their jib, man.
I mean, yeah, it's hard not to like this team, even if you were from, you know, out of state somewhere. You just look at this team and you just see a bunch of guys being dudes. You know, they're not, you know, the traditional, you know, roster of, you know, different guys here and there. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I don't know what... Dude, you're just talking right now. What are you talking about? It's okay. I get it.
Anyway, yes, I do think they'll make it to Omaha, but our bullpen has to step up.
Absolutely. And I think our biggest problem with the bullpen is not that we don't have talent, it's that we don't have consistency. Because every single guy in the bullpen we've seen give us good innings.
Yes.
Like, there's nobody in the bullpen who hasn't given us anything. Every single arm down there has given us something good at some point in the season. But the problem is you never know if they're going to give up 1 run, no runs, or 10 runs. So we just have to find that consistency. Ackenhausen came in yesterday, pitched 55 pitches, and ended up closing out the game for us. He played fantastic.
Yeah, great performance from him.
Oh, sorry. Not a little
Bless you.
burpy burp there. Blake Money is a guy who can get you 6 outs, but don't ask him for any more than that, let's be honest. He has the ability to be a very effective closer, but I don't know if I'd want to use him for more than an inning and a half to 2.
I agree, Ethan. Put it on a shirt. Bunch of guys being dudes.
I agree. That should be something that OTD becomes.
Yeah.
OTD, just a bunch of guys being dudes. Ooh,
I see a
look
clown
who's in the
car
chat.
in the chat. Someone's trying to make up for something.
Yeah, Gerald Ed over there. Hey, Redfish, did you get new glasses? Yeah, I did. Thanks for
noticed.
noticing after my father told you yesterday. Also, Byron noticed the second I put them on. So, some friends are better than moms. What's up, Clown Car? How you doing, buddy? We were just talking about you. I don't know if you heard at the beginning of the episode, but just talking about how big of a part of OTD you have been and that you will continue to be over the summer.
An even bigger part.
Yeah, very excited for what the summer's going to look like with Clown Carts filling in for me.
So much baseball.
Dude, he's so energetic. He's so fun. I love that guy. We're watching baseball right now. He's the biggest baseball guy I know. So really excited for what he's going to bring to OTD when he's on here every week. Speaking about baseball, go ahead and check out the Squeeze Pod, another partner with The Know. So go ahead and check them out on Twitter, the Squeeze Pod, putting out some good content recently. Really, really active on social media, and that's what we like to see. Is just a chance to engage and really get your thoughts out there. So if you ever want to talk baseball, get to know them, and like I said, get to know Lot on Twitter. Very, very fun follow.
Oh.
Man on first and second, no outs. Travinsky has been playing absolutely phenomenal baseball as of late.
That would be outstanding. They could get Clown
Car on the squeeze. Dave, my boy. Look, the Rangers hat, all for you, bud. I'm a Red Sox fan, but it's still here. I know you're a big Rangers guy. I'm wearing the hat right now. Adolis Garcia's having an MVP level season. But this isn't a baseball podcast. We won't get into the MLB too much. But yes, Clown Car on the squeeze would be a phenomenal experience for all parties involved. That would be something I would listen to immediately. Oh, look at this. Look at the chat. Things you love to see, huh?
Making things happen.
But like we were saying with LSU's bullpen, I mean, Ackenhausen came in, played great yesterday. Blake Money can be a solid closer if he gives you what we know he's capable of. Riley Cooper was on the mound this past inning, and he got you your outs you needed.
Yes.
But then you need other guys to step up too. I mean, Thatcher was playing the bullpen role for a little bit while we were waiting for him to find his groove. Now that he's found his groove, I expect him to kind of fill in that starter role as we go out through the rest of the postseason.
Yeah.
Javen Coleman has been another guy who's been filling in as a starter. I could see him kind of switching with Thatcher. We've got Bryce Collins and Sammy Dutton down there, the Goggle Boys. Those two also very up and down. In my opinion, I think Sammy Dutton's kind of our most inconsistent guy. I haven't really seen much from him that has proven to me he can be a solid rotational piece for LSU. I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but I think as of our pitching goes, he's kind of the last guy I'd want to see trying to save a game for us. But that being said, I think LSU really does have a lot of talent that can be shown off and get us to where we need to be in Omaha.
Yeah, I have to agree. Really the only thing... Oh, not a double play.
No way.
An unconventional double play.
Hayden, what are we doing, bud? You've been our best player today.
So for those of you that aren't watching the game, we'll give you a little update. Thompson had runners on first and second, hit a ground ball to short. Was looking like an easy double play. I guess Thompson was running hard. Second baseman who, caught the ball in second tried to throw it to first, then quickly pump faked and threw it to third and caught Travinsky off the bag for an unconventional double play.
Very unconventional double play. I don't know if you see those drawn up very often. What was that? Jeez, I don't even know how to. How do you score? What was that? Like a 6-4-5 double play? I don't know if you see that very often. Or no, a 5-4-6 double play. Excuse me. Definitely don't see those very often. And then a pop up to right field here to end the inning. LSU had man on first and second with no outs, and then we ended up scoring absolutely nothing. So that's something you cannot afford to have against Arkansas, who's a top 5 team in the nation, second seed in this tournament, I believe.
Yep.
Ugh. That's a very unfortunate circumstance. However, when we come back around, we'll be getting closer to the top of the lineup, I guess.
Yeah, it's a way to look at things in a positive way. But as I was saying, coming up before these past few weeks happened, and even during, I've always questioned, our bullpen. Like I knew we had the starters. Starters were doing good all throughout the season, and then some of them had a little a few games where I thought they could have done better. I'm sure they did too. But for the most part, they were pretty consistent. We had our 3 guys, and then we've had some big changes in the last few weeks. We couldn't get Christian Little was having trouble locating his pitches. I personally think he was just trying to throw too hard, and he was trying to get strikeouts where when you have this kind of defense, you let your defense get the outs for you.
Former pitcher, so I trust him.
Throw less pitches, keep your
P.O.
pitch count down, and kind of extend your innings, try and get more quality starts, in my opinion. That's the kind of pitcher I was. I threw to my defense. I know I wasn't the big strikeout guy. But that being said, big step up from the guys in the pen the past, I want to say week, but a few weeks. But the series against Mississippi State really, really threw me off, especially towards the end.
Yeah, no reason we should have lost that.
However, game yesterday, absolutely huge step up from Thatcher Hurd to really go out there and give your team a quality start and a win. And then Ackenhausen out of the bullpen to come in and throw 55 pitches and finish that game out was amazing. Really set your team up for, positive effects going forward.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what this team can do outside of the SEC tournament once we get into the NCAA tourney. Like I said, it would be a major disappointment if we didn't at least make it to Omaha. I mean,
I think we'll make it to Omaha. Like, I'm pretty confident that we'll get there. But once you get to Omaha,
you still have
the competition takes a huge step up.
And at this point, it's possible that we see 4 SEC teams in Omaha. I mean, it's like the SEC is so talented in baseball right now. I mean, in every sport, really. But in baseball specifically, the SEC is kind of just ruling the nation. Florida is a fantastic team. Arkansas and LSU are 2 and 3 in the SEC tournament, and I think 4 and 5 in the nation. So, like, out of the top 5 teams, 4 of them are in the SEC. Like, this is a really, really impressive conference to be a part of. And LSU has gone in and faced some of the toughest teams in the country this season. So I think it's going to start to shine once we start playing those series against non-SEC opponents in the regionals and super regionals.
Yes, SEC baseball, just as much as football is, it's a completely different conference, completely different game than what, these other conferences are seeing. They are stacked.
Yeah, and I mean Wake Forest, I think, is the number 1 team in the country.
Yes,
they're
very
not an
good.
SEC team.
No, they are very good.
They are a really, really good team. So it's not like the SEC is the only good baseball conference.
Yes,
it's just a point to that.
The whole conference
as a whole, the conference is
filled with talent.
Absolutely awesome.
Up and down, every team has some talent on it. But Wake Forest, man, they don't hit the home run ball like these SEC teams do. But man, do they get on base, and that's why they're winning all these games.
Listen, you don't have to hit home runs to win baseball games. You really don't. A lot of teams, you can win it on pitching and getting on base. If you can walk and you can pitch, you can win games.
Exactly.
So I think, and that's another thing we need to see out of LSU is when the home runs aren't hitting for you. Like, I mean, in the Georgia series, we were smacking home runs every at bat.
But so was Georgia.
Moneyball style, exactly. Thank you, Lot. See, this is why you're the baseball guy. Love you, man.
Yep. Playing small ball.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we were smacking home runs against Georgia. But if we're in a park where we're not hitting home runs, what else can this team do? And I think that'll kind of be between that and the bullpen. That'll kind of prove to us whether LSU can win it all or not. Is do you have what it takes to hit the singles and the doubles and the gap and take advantage of base running situations in order to win close games? Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to LSU baseball?
I think that if they, keep playing from what they were used to early in the season, if they just, keep their head level and pitchers got to pitch. That's really when it all comes down to it. You can't play a game and expect to win if you're walking everybody. And so our bullpen needs to realize how good this defense is behind them. It's fine to give up a few hits. You don't have to get everybody out at the plate. But trust your defense, trust your pitches, and just have fun out there, man. You're in college.
Yeah, absolutely. LSU's got a really, really talented team. I mean, they had the number 1 recruiting class. When it comes to freshmen, they had the number 1 transfer portal class. So they've got unbelievable talent on this team, and I think it's everybody's responsibility to understand that they're not the only talented one. Don't let anybody be a hero.
Yeah. I think if they play together, play as a team, and just, don't try too hard to be the guy. If you just can get on base if you're a hitter, make the simple play if you're a fielder, and throw strikes if you're a pitcher, I'm very confident that this team can go all the way.
Yeah, tonight we're kind of being carried by Travinsky and Morgan, who aren't our 2 best players. Our 2 best players, our 3 best players, really, Cruz, White, and Skeens. Skeens gets pulled in the 4th inning. Cruz is not having a good year as of late, and Tommy White is our only hit other than those 2 guys. So they're kind of proving to us right now what we're talking about, and it's going to take the unconventional guys to kind of bring us to where we need to go. So we'll keep talking about the game as it goes on, but let's move beyond LSU baseball. Let's get into some basketball. Not to talk too much about the NBA as a whole. We want to talk about a little bit of Pelican stuff, really. But Nuggets ended up sweeping the Lakers. That was a huge thing. Jokic ends up getting, a lot of people were expecting him to get his 3rd MVP in a row. Kind of gets gypped off of that.
Yeah, he took that one to heart for sure.
Yeah, and then absolutely dominated the Lakers. Between him and Jamal Murray, there was no stopping the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. So they're on their way to the finals.
Oh, what a snag. What a play by the Arkansas.
Absolutely phenomenal play by the Arkansas shortstop right there. Number 1, don't know his name.
Turn around, please.
Yeah, he's not helping us out any. Cole, was it?
Cole, maybe?
Was it Cole? Man, they're giving us really bad angles. I want to respect the guy by saying his name, but they're not giving us anything right now.
Not a chance. I'm sure if we had the sound on.
Oh, he might have been safe, eh? Could have been. It's possible. Ooh, bang, bang play.
Tough call.
Go to the booth.
Could go to the booth. I mean,
go to the
pretty
booth.
Close to a tie. Normally tie goes to the runner. However,
that is so very close.
Called it out on the field. It's going to take a lot to overturn it.
We'll see where it leads us. Let's continue to talk about the NBA and talk about
Dustin. Looks like either Henry or Camille was on the keyboard there.
Oh yeah, Henry came up behind Dustin and just started smashing the keyboard. Let's talk about Clown Car's favorite player of all time,
as he has said in the chat.
Yeah, LeBum, LaMickey, LeBron James. Notice how I said 4 L's there because that's how many he took in a row to get swept. Sorry, I'm off of that one now. But yeah, Nuggets sweeping the Lakers. That was kind of crazy, man.
And yeah, like I had said, I was confident in the Nuggets to win this. They've been playing great basketball in these playoffs. Especially, the guy everybody expected Jokic to do exactly what he did, and he did. But what people weren't expecting was the rest of his team to step up the way they did. One in particular, Michael Porter Jr., was just lights out. Like
doesn't know how to pass.
Felt like he couldn't miss.
Dude has never passed the ball in his entire life.
No, like
but boy, oh boy, can he shoot!
I think it was like three possessions in a row where they had a fast break. It was like a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1 or something, and he just pulls up from 3 and drains it.
He absolutely does not care whatsoever if anybody else touches the ball, but he will shoot it, and most of the time it goes in. As for the call on the field, they ended up overturning it. Dugas is safe at first.
Excellent.
Way to beat it out.
Yeah, way to run.
I mean, it was a hard grounder to short, and he ends up running through the bag to get on first there. So impressive speed by Dugas to give us a man on first with no outs, with the top of the lineup coming up after Milazzo at bat here. So LeBron is out of the playoffs. There's some talks right now about he's saying he has to consider his future. Does he want to retire? I'm not even going to get into that because he's not retiring.
No.
He's
not yet.
Like that. He's not retiring.
He's still playing well.
I mean, yeah, he was the best player in the series on the losing team. I think he averaged like 27, 10, and 9, and he's like 38. Like he's not retiring.
He knows he still has some game left in him. He's going to try and get him another ring.
He won't, but he can try. And then
it depends on what he does. If
Lakers
he stays on the Lakers, I don't think.
Right.
But,
he's
LeBron. He can make anything
If
happen.
he goes to the Warriors, then he'll probably win
the
one.
Suns.
Or the Celtics. So,
Would you
speaking
still
about
hate
the
LeBron?
Celtics, they are down 3-1 in their series after going down 3-0.
Well, Lott has quite a prediction here. He said he'll sit for a year and then sign with whatever team Bronny goes to.
And, that kind of backs up what the official No account says.
Yeah.
Shout out to the No. If LeBron retires, I think he'll pull a Sean Payton. He honestly could do that. I could absolutely see him sitting on the couch for a year, resting his body, still maintain shape and train and everything, but don't risk himself getting hurt, and then wherever Bronny gets drafted, he's like, yeah, I'll sign with you for $10 million, and then you'll be the best team in the league because you'll have LeBron James and LeBron James Jr., and then you'll probably bring in like 6 other stars who sign on minimum deals just because they want to play with LeBron.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Lakers did in 2020 when they got it. Anthony Davis from us. Yeah, the bubble indeed. Strikeout from Milazzo there.
Milazzo.
Don't expect anything else from Milazzo with the bat in his hands. But I think D. Cruz is coming up, so that's something we can look forward to. But like I was saying, Heat versus Celtics. Celtics down 3-1 in the series. They were down 3-0, looking to be the first team to ever come down from a 3-0. Are the Celtics the team that can do it?
If any team were to be able to do it, it's them. Especially, Heat have Gabe Vincent out tonight because of an ankle injury.
Celtics are back home.
First game back in Boston. It's lining up for a Celtics win tonight. But you can never count out Jimmy Butler.
No, Himmy Buckets has been lights out this entire playoff, so I don't want to bet against the Heat. But as a secondary Celtics fan, I also want to see them be the first team to come down from 3-0.
Yeah, it would be incredible for them.
I would personally love it.
And yeah, like I said, if there were any team to ever do it, it's this team. They are just so talented,
Loaded with talent.
so deep.
if they can just figure out their rotations
Yeah.
and everybody can play the ball that they need to play, they can win it. They have one of those teams where they don't really have many holes. Like if you look at the Celtics team, they have phenomenal guard play. I think their biggest problem is their bigs.
Yeah, especially coming
And
against, a very athletic young guy in Bam Adebayo.
yeah. And that if they do somehow create this miraculous comeback and come down from 3-0 and face off against the Nuggets, that would not be a good thing for them.
Even tougher.
For Jokic to be the guy to expose you like that. But we'll see where that goes. The last game is tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that and let you know in the next episode how that's going. I do expect the Heat to end up I feel like it's way too hard to win 4 games in a row. If there's any team, like you said, if there's any team that can do it, I think it's the Celtics. But I think it's too hard. The Heat will probably end up make it a Heat Nuggets finals. But either way, I think it's going to be a really good NBA finals that we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the NBA season. But moving on beyond the national stuff, let's get into the local stuff. The New Orleans Pelicans. There's been some talks recently about what they're looking to do with the Smoothie King Center. I know that they were kind of doing like an overview of it of, how much would it cost to renovate it to make it a state-of-the-art facility like everybody else has. What would it look like as far as building a new facility, tearing this one down, building a whole new center.
Oh, wow. So
there's a lot of talks going on right now as far as the facility goes. Do you have any thoughts in particular about what you'd like to see happen with the Smoothie King Center? Whether you think it, like what could they do to renovate it? What could they do as far as getting a new place? Like, what do you think should happen with all that?
It's definitely dated a little bit. You could tell from when you're first walking inside, it's just not up to the standards of what these new facilities and ballparks are being. So I could see like an upgrade in the seating arrangements, like making some more walkways, more staircases, making it to where you don't have to stand up. Everybody has to stand up for you to walk down the aisle.
Yeah, change the color of the seats because let's be honest, the whole blue, gray,
when you get to
green
the top
thing
sections.
Looks disgusting. Clown Car in the chat said, "Oh, but it has so much charm.
It does have a lot of charm.
The outside charm is wonderful."
I would disagree on tearing it down and building a whole new facility, just because of how much of a staple it is, right there on Poydras next to the Superdome. But as far as interior renovations go, I do believe it needs an update.
I think there's a lot that can be done, and you kind of have to do a cost assessment of how much it would cost to renovate it to how you want versus how much it would take to create a whole new facility. I know the rule of thumb is if it's going to cost you 50% to renovate it of what it would cost you to build a new one, you just build a new one because you'll make your money back in the long run.
Yeah.
Learn that one in my class. So shout out to facility management with Chad. Shout out Chad. But did you read, by the way?
I did not.
You didn't read for Chad?
No.
Oh, inside joke there. A little inside baseball.
Kill me.
But yeah, we'll see what I think there's a lot of renovations that can be done. Adding like an outside entertainment area, like Clown Car and I, when we went to the Rangers game, there's a whole little entertainment district outside of the stadium, and they've got restaurants and bars, and like looks like there's an arcade over there, and just music blaring, and looks like a super fun time. Outside Smoothie King Center, it's just you just walk in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar to out there in Chicago at Wrigley Field, they have right on the outside Wrigleyville, pretty similar. All these bars, people getting together before the game to go tailgate. It's a fun little scene out there. Definitely want to go back to it. But yeah, and I remember as a kid going to the Hornets games, they always had like these something for entertainment purposes outside. Like they'd have a basketball goal set up and invite people to come play like a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3 match, or have like a like a shooting contest or something. Past few times I've been there, I haven't seen anything out there.
They used to always like either the dance team would be out there or like Hugo the Hornet would be out there. Like signing stuff for kids, or like they'd have the trampolines out there that they'd be jumping on, and music and food trucks and stuff. I felt like that was every game I went to as a kid, and now it's legit. You walk through the metal detector and you go into the arena. Like there's nothing really going on.
And you smell roasted nuts.
True. Get your hot nuts. Get your hot nuts.
Hot nuts.
You can't have nice stuff, and that's true. It would get stolen at this point if you tried to bring nice stuff into New Orleans. So you gotta look at that too, I guess.
Beat it.
Dang it. Had 2 men on, and
Again, 2 innings in a row.
2 innings in a row. We leave 2 on base. That you can't win games like that, man. 8 hits, and it's only translated to 2 runs. That's rough.
Yeah.
But back to the Pels. I think there's definitely a lot of stuff you can do as far as like seating goes, interior stuff. I mean, it just kind of looks like you're in the mid-2000s. Like, it just doesn't feel new. It doesn't feel like you're really keeping up to date with a lot of the newer stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure Theo Von Mitchell would love it.
Theo, shut up. God. So many inside jokes popping off. I love it. Good follow. He follows me on Instagram, so no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. But there's a lot of stuff you can do to renovate that place. Hopefully they can work it out to where they don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I know relocation with the Pelicans has been a thing that people have talked about for a long time. If the Pelicans ever leave New Orleans, I would also leave New Orleans probably, because I already kind of want to leave Louisiana.
That would be
not having a sports team.
That would be the final.
That would be the final straw. I don't know if I'd follow them perchance, but that would be horrible. Please do not relocate my Pels, baby. But as far as on the court goes, this year the record itself wasn't too bad. 42-40 we finished.
It just didn't feel
we finished
good.
above 500. But when you look at, we were the number 1 seed at the start of the new year on January 1st. Number 1 seed in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up finishing at the 9th seed and losing our first play-in game to not even get a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, disappointing on court. And a lot of it comes back to health, with Brandon Ingram missing half the season, Zion missing 2/3 of the season probably. I mean, we could only count on a few guys to be healthy for us, and you can't win games if the team you want out there is not out there.
Exactly.
We've seen it from the Saints too. The team that you signed contracts to is not the team you have out on the field because you have players getting hurt.
I think the staff has done an excellent job of trying to build this team around its young prospect in Zion, but as far as his health goes, that's out of their control. I think he should be on the court more. Yeah, he got a lot of heat for saying what he said, when he said he's just not there mentally, but he was perfectly healthy. He definitely got a lot of feedback and a lot of heat for saying that. But as far as building this team around him, I think they've done an excellent job. They've gave him the players to work with, and really he's the missing piece on his own team.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, you have as a biased Pelicans fan, I think talent-wise you have every piece you need to win a championship.
Yeah. You got the depth of the bench. Those bench guys come in and they play their hearts out.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at our starting lineup. You've got C.J. McCollum, a fully healthy team. You've got C.J. McCollum at the 1. He played 2 most of his career, but he's shown to be a very good playmaker. He'll give you over 6 assists a game. And not only that, but you also have a playmaker in Brandon Ingram, who's improved a lot with passing the ball.
Yes.
Recently.
His first ever triple-double.
Yeah, and like 5 years into his career. But the thing of Brandon Ingram is he's still very young.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of time to keep improving and putting muscle on and just honing his game in. And Brandon Ingram's a very, very good player. So if you look at a fully healthy lineup, you've got C.J. McCollum, you've got Herb Jones, who's one of the best defenders in the league. Didn't make an all-defensive team, which everybody rioted about anyway.
He looks like a catfish.
Even non-Pelicans fans, catfish. Even non-Pelicans fans and players hated it.
Oh, wow.
What's up?
Dustin just compared Zion to Greg Oden.
Okay, listen. Yeah, don't do that, okay? Damn it, Dustin.
You know, he met him on a plane.
He met Greg Oden? Did he break his hand by shaking it?
Possibly.
Possibly. Dustin's the reason Greg Oden never worked out in the NBA.
I mean, it was like this year, but
Never mind. Shout out to Dustin for meeting Greg Oden. That's such a random person to meet. Good for him. But yeah, I mean, like, CJ, Herb, B.I., Zion, Valanciunas. You get Jose off the bench. You get Trey Murphy off the bench, who we all know how much I love Trey Murphy.
and how much I love Jose.
My second favorite player in the NBA, Trey Murphy is.
My favorite chant in the NBA.
Jose. Yeah. Jose, Tramer, Najee Marshall, Larry Nance.
Najee Marshall, who I hated.
Oh,
a
he
year
was my
ago.
least favorite Pelicans player
We
going
both
into this year.
We didn't know who we hated more, Najee or Devontae Graham.
Yep.
Turns out it's Devontae Graham.
Turns out Devontae Graham is no longer on the team. And now we love Najee Marshall.
Yes.
Because he took a huge step up, both defensively and offensively. Larry Nance comes off the bench. Jackson Hayes, who may or may not be back this season, depends how much money the Pistons want to give him. He's just a Pistons player. Like, you look at him, you're like, he's a Detroit Piston.
Yeah.
Depends how much money he gets from
Tall
somewhere
guy
else.
With big hair.
So we've got all the talent in the world on that team. They fit together. They each have their own role. Like, it just makes sense. And yet we can't get the production that we need out of them.
Yeah, they just.
Speaking about production, Riley Cooper.
Riley Cooper's having a day.
Riley Cooper might be having his best game of the season right now. Allowed 0 runs. I think he's pitched for.
I think he gave up one because
2 and
he came in that.
Oh yeah,
put
with
him
bases
in,
loaded,
yeah.
and 1 out.
Yeah, but he got him out of that hole.
yeah,
With
and
minimal damage, and has played
2
excellent.
1/3 innings at this point, and he's been pitching really well. But yeah, with the Pels, the on court stuff just hasn't worked as much as we wanted to, and I think it comes down to injuries. So I want to ask you a question, and my question to you is, if you could, given we stay fully healthy, it is a finals contending team, but if you could make one realistic trade, so I don't want you to say like, oh yeah, we'll trade for Joel Embiid, we'll give him 2 seconds and Billy Hernangomez. Like, no, like,
Except.
yeah, obviously. Realistic
Turn
trade.
the sliders off.
Realistic trade. Who would you trade for, and why do you think that would send us over the edge to be the team to beat?
Well, I've said it. Me and Reese have both agreed on this
Shout out Rebo.
a while back, and that was the fact that we both love Jonas, but he's not the correct centerpiece for this team. I love his play style, but when it's surrounded by this team, pretty sure Zion has scored higher than Oden's career high in points. Yeah,
That's 100% true. I think Zion scored more points than Oden did in his entire career in like 5 games. So people forget Zion was an all-star 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, he played enough games I think he played like 65 or so that year, and was an all-star, averaged like 28 and 12. Like, he's him. When he's on the court, he is an absolute dominant force. But back to your trade. I know who you're going to say.
Well, you think you know what I'm going to say. You probably do know what I'm going to say. But
Does it rhyme with Lyles Ferner?
But yeah, I love Jonas's play style. He's a great big in this league, but I think he could be more successful somewhere else, and I think the Pelicans could be more successful with someone else in his place. This is not to throw shade or dog down Jonas, because I love the guy. But I think if we could package him and maybe like a what's his name? The tall, big hair guy.
Jackson Hayes?
Jackson Hayes.
The Detroit Piston?
Yeah, I think we package, them two, or, Jonas and a pick or something in exchange for one of these tall centers who can spread the floor, like a Porzingis or a Miles Turner.
There he is. I knew his name would come up.
I think that would probably, they would fit really well with this team because, you have Zion who, if he's healthy, but this is whole team healthy scenario. Zion on the court, he is going to control the paint. You don't need a taller Zion in there with him to crowd the paint. You need someone who could space the floor, go out to the wing, go out to the corner, and, distract the defense, or if Zion's in the paint, it could draw that defender off of them, leave him open in the corner.
Travinsky's 4 for 4.
Travinsky is playing his heart out.
He has been the biggest X factor for the Tigers this season because he started the season 3rd on the depth chart for catchers and has easily made his spot as the best catcher on the team and a go-to guy in the lineup.
Lott is trying to curse us.
Oh, no.
He said Zion's going to leave New Orleans and play 82 games this first season on a new team.
How dare he say that? That is messed up. You're probably right, but it is messed up.
But yeah, so like a big center who could space the floor would be an appropriate trade in my eyes.
Yeah.
Or even if you pick one up in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, the Pelicans need a rim protector on defense and a shooter on offense when it comes to the center position because Valanciunas can hit the three every now and then, but he's more of a back-to-the-basket kind of guy. And when it comes to defense, he's not necessarily what you want. He's not the worst defender of all time, but he's also not one of the best rim protectors. So if you can get a guy like Miles Turner, who his 2 best traits are rim protection and spacing the floor on offense, definitely can't go wrong there. As for me, I'm focused more on the draft. I know this is something that you're not really a big NBA draft guy, more of an NFL draft guy.
Definitely more of that.
We both love the NFL draft. Rebo is huge on the NBA draft, so I can't wait for him to give his thoughts on this. If we can ever get him back on this podcast, because he's always busy.
Fun fact for those of y'all listening, I haven't seen Rebo in the chat, but he is a incredibly smart man when it comes to basketball.
Yes, I would agree. I like to rib him, and I just like to give him crap. But when it comes to if you get him started on basketball, he will go for 20 minutes, and no one else will respond in the chat. He'll have a conversation with himself. You'll read it and be like, "This dude just wrote a book on basketball."
We were playing NBA 2K one night, and I just started going through rosters and naming players. And I want to say it was, I'm going to give him a little benefit of the doubt here, but I want to say he got 85% of the players' colleges correct.
Dude loves college basketball. Huge college basketball fan. And it translates into the NBA. And when he gets passionate about basketball, it's so fun to watch because he really cares and he's really smart about it. I love when Rebo gets to talking about basketball. It just makes me happy to hear him talk about basketball because he cares so much and he really knows a lot about it. For me, I've been kind of trying to look at, what may happen in the NBA draft. I mean, obviously, the Spurs get the number 1 pick. They're going Wemby. Rockets get number 2. Or Rockets didn't get number 2. Excuse me. I believe the Trailblazers got number 2.
Pull it up.
No, the Trailblazers got 3. My brain just not clicking right now. Not firing on full cylinders. Am I having a stroke? What's happening? I can't speak. But no, I know San Antonio got 1. I know Portland got 3. Charlotte got the 2nd pick. That's the team I was forgetting. Charlotte got number 2. So, number 1, Wemby's going to go. 2, Charlotte. I mean, honestly, Scoot Henderson has kind of been the guy that everybody's looked at to go number 2.
Another base hit. Travinsky will score.
Jordan Thompson will stay at first. With 1 out, we are now down 5-3 with Joby coming up. Joe Bear's been one of the biggest home run hitters we've had in the past couple weeks. Maybe he can do it again.
One swing in the bat.
But like I was saying, Scoot Henderson, he's been kind of the talk at number 2, but he doesn't fit into that Charlotte offense with so many guards already. I could see them going Brandon Miller there, forward out of Alabama. The draft really starts to come together at 3 when, there's a big talk of, like, who could get, is Dame going to be a Trailblazer still? Could Anthony Simons get traded? Are they looking to move past that number 3 pick? So that's something that's really interesting. I could easily see them trading Dame and then picking Scoot, or keeping Dame and trading that 3rd pick, either way. So, we'll kind of see what happens there. But looking specifically at the Pelicans, thank you for doing this. Specifically looking at the Pelicans at the 14th pick, let's do a little bit of a mock draft just so I can get a look at who I think is going to be there. Just click on ESPN, that's fine. Start the draft. So just draft Wembanyama at first. Click the draft button, yeah. Oh, there's so many things you got to click. I'd say Brandon Miller will probably go 2. In this situation, let's go Scoot Henderson at 3 to the Trailblazers. And then, you know what? Let's scroll up a little bit. The Pelicans have the 14th pick. So, looking at who's going to be there at 14, there's 3 guys I would really like to see the Pelicans take. And I think 2 of them are going to be there. All 3 of them play the same position. Scroll back up a little bit. No, a little bit too much? Okay, yeah. All 3 play the same position. There's 3 guys I really want to see the Pelicans take. Number 1, Grady Dick out of Kansas. Phenomenal player. Really, really good shooter. I think he would fit in with the Pelicans perfectly with what we want to do. Long shooting wing, 3-and-D guy. Him and Tramer on the floor together would be absolutely lethal when it comes to a bench scoring unit. Jordan Hawkins, UConn shooting guard. I mean, probably my favorite player in the draft because I was a big UConn guy in this past tournament. They end up winning the whole thing. Yeah. And he was the leading scorer on that team, is a 3-level scorer, and has the playmaking ability to play the guard position in the NBA. I think he's a phenomenal player. He could come out with Jose, and, Jose's really the pass-first defensive kind of guy. Jordan Hawkins will give you the buckets, and that'll allow Tramer to more freelance on the court as far as the bench unit goes. And all of this to be said, we still have Dyson Daniels, who I haven't mentioned yet. And where does he really fit into the offense and in the rotation in general? And then lastly, the last player I kind of want to see us look at is Jet Howard out of Michigan. Another player who can really shoot the lights out. I think he was an over 40% three-point shooter in college, and really kind of has that ability to shoot from deep, not just like those corner threes, but it can really pull up from 26, 27 feet. He was 37% on the year. Son of Juwan Howard, so he's got that championship pedigree in him.
Yeah.
He's got that NBA bloodline, and, he's under 20 years old, so he's still a very young player, got time to develop. But those are kind of my 3 guys I want to look at. For me, my favorite player is Jordan Hawkins. If you want to go click on Jordan Hawkins so I can give a good little stat line. He had a phenomenal season. Sophomore out of UConn, like I said, 16 points. He gave you 4 rebounds, only about assist and a half per game, but that kind of wasn't his role. He was like, I'm going to shoot the ball and I'm going to score the ball.
Like MPJ.
Yeah, he shot 39% from the 3. Fantastic free throw shooter at 89%.
That's a
Dustin
good
Danton said, Redfish, I keep seeing guys putting Bijan top 7 in fantasy. Too much hype. As soon as I'm done with the NBA draft, we'll talk about fantasy football, and then we'll get out of here. Like I said, those are my 3 guys in the draft that I'd like to see the Pels get. Sitting at 14, that's where we're at. I could definitely see us trading up or down. Pelicans usually never stay put on their pick. They always do something. And I feel like this is one of those years where they could easily make some sort of trade. But if we're sitting at 14 and Jordan Hawkins is on the board, I think that's who you go with, in my opinion. And, I think I'll only have one more episode before I'm off for the summer. So this will probably be the last time I get to talk really about the Pelicans. So I'm excited for what they're going to do. Maybe I'll text in or maybe able to Zoom call something throughout the summer so I can get a little bit more talking. But let's close off on some fantasy football because it's creeping up around the corner. We've been talking about it a lot recently off camera. And Dustin asked us a question, so let's see what he says. Putting Bijan in the top 7, too much hype. In a fantasy redraft, Bijan in the top 7 is...
In a dynasty league, I would agree.
This is what I think
probably.
I think I had said that, during the draft process, is that if you're in a dynasty redraft, Bijan goes a lot higher than if you're in a one year fantasy redraft.
Correct.
Because long term, Bijan could end up being a top 5 running back for years to come. But what does he look like on this current Falcons team is my question. They had Tyler Algier last year, who was an 1,000-plus yard rusher. They still have Cordero Patterson. They're in a division that's one of the worst in football. Do we think the Falcons are going to be a high-scoring offense? Because, when you look at fantasy, you usually want to get players who are going to be on offenses that score a lot of points. Because if your player's on an offense that scores a lot of points, your player's going to score a lot of points. Top 7 in fantasy, personally, I would not take Bijan in the top 7.
No, I don't. I think receivers would start to go before him, and I wouldn't even consider him a top 7 running back.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at this board right now, and it has Brian Robinson at the top as the number 1 best option to go with.
Bijan Robinson.
That's what I meant. Bijan Robinson at the top, number 1 best option, followed by Nick Chubb, then Derrick Henry, and then Josh Jacobs. I would take all 3 of those before
That's
Bijan.
After 9 picks already taken, where we see 4 wide receivers and Travis Kelce go. So this specific system has him at running back 4. He would end up being the 5th running back if you took him here at 10. For me, I mean, fantasy redraft, you're starting over new. You get to make a whole new team. So in our big money league, for example, the one that we're in with Dustin, if I get a top 7 pick, and I would have to talk to my co-GM, obviously, Rebo Hustle.
Yeah.
But I think we're both on the same page where if we have a top 7 pick, Bijan's probably not one of those guys. I would definitely take CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Jettas, Eckler, Jamar Chase, Saquon, Derrick Henry, possibly Josh Jacobs and Nick Chubb. Josh Jacobs and Nick Chubb are kind of like head-to-head for me, and I think Bijan would follow them right behind. I think Bijan's a first-round pick in our 14-team league.
Yeah,
I think he's on the kind of the last 3 to 4 picks.
Yeah, I could see him going late first round or early second, kind of depending on how the draft goes.
I think
with the people we
for
draft
me,
with.
Bijan's a double-digit first-round pick, so 10 through 14.
Yeah.
Fantasy startup, fantasy redraft. In a dynasty league, if you're looking at a dynasty startup or dynasty redraft where anybody's on the board, Bijan goes top 5 probably. But if you're looking at a 1-year redraft league, I would not take Bijan top 7.
No.
You know what? Maybe next episode we'll talk about some fantasy football because it's something we both love and something we haven't been able to talk about in a long time, and it'll be a really cool thing for me to talk about before I head out. So look forward to that on the next episode. If there's nothing else we want to talk about, it looks like the Tigers are going into the 9th year down by 2. So we'll finish that game up off camera, and hopefully the Tigers can pull it out.
They pull something out.
Is there anything else you would like to say to the people before we head on off of here?
No, just remember to go follow all those accounts. 4 of them.
4 accounts. That would be us and The Know on Facebook. So Off the Dome Sports Podcast, as well as The Know on Facebook. Know spelled KNEAUX. As well as on Twitter, _Dome Pod, and at BInTheKnow. Know once again spelled KNEAUX. The only way to spell the O at this point. So if you follow all 4 of those accounts, we'll look through. We'll see who's following all 4. And then if you're following all 4, then you'll be entered for a chance to win a mini cornhole set. You can keep at your desk at work, and when your boss is making you mad or you have nothing better to do or you're on your lunch break and, you still got 10 minutes before you need to get back on the clock, put a little cornhole.
Yeah, we played a lot of cornhole this week.
We played a lot, and I'll tell you what.
We won a lot.
I was kind of crazy. I would argue I was top 2 there. I would argue I was top 2. I mean, if your dad would have been any better, we would have won a lot. Once me and you teamed up, though, there was nobody beating us. Yeah. There was nobody beating us. I mean, could use some mini corn dogs
right now.
No, you could use a little bit less alcohol.
Less fireball.
A little bit less fireball, a little bit more cornhole. And we would have won a lot more games. Shout out Zach.
Man. Yeah. Talk about down and out.
Oh, man. Hope he's okay.
No, he's good.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Jared Jones is coming to pinch hit for the Tigers, so we'll see how that goes.
Bomb City.
But once again, don't forget about the giveaway. Make sure to check out The Know on both Twitter and Facebook. Be in The Know on Twitter, The Know on Facebook, as well as Off the Dome Sports Podcast. That is us on Facebook and Twitter, _Dome Pod. Don't forget you can always go back, watch us on Twitch, OTD Sports, or on YouTube, Off the Dome Sports Podcast. All the episodes are uploaded on there and saved, so just go click on one and have yourself some fun watching back some old episodes, see what we got right, see what we got wrong. And
tell your friends about us, The
absolutely.
more people that follow us, the better stuff we'll give away.
Yeah, I mean, the more the better, because
we could work your way up to the PS5, Dustin.
Yeah, maybe. The more followers we have, the more we can get out, the more content we can do, and the more fun we'll have. Just the more people that are watching, the better. And I'm excited for where this podcast is going. I'm excited to see Clown Car on this couch throughout the summer and see what he has to say about everything going on in the Louisiana sports world. So
I'm sure he's got a lot.
He is a lot. But as for now, this will be Off the Dome signing off. I am Redfish.
And I am Mustang.
And we will see you next time.